General, and we'll get straight into it. General, thank you very much for sparing time and always accepting to speak to the nation, but the globe at large. So, General, we'll get into it this evening, but maybe before we do that, for our listeners on X, I think General would like to clarify something.
Thank you, Peter, for hosting me. But before we proceed, I'd like to apologize to the listeners because my device that we were trying to connect on X got a little bit of technical hiccups. So we had to look for alternatives. And therefore it caused a delay. We do apologize.
All right. Thank you, General, and thank you for that clarification to our viewership, listeners, and the viewership. We apologize, but we hope that you can keep us continued. So, General, let's get into it. The alliance, the Alliance for National Transformation, which you started it to address systemic governance issues. What specific gaps in Uganda's political system, as we speak in 2025, when we're gearing up to an election, do you think that ANT needs to address, and how can we tackle them?
We've had an unfortunate history since independence that while we've had political actors throughout the whole 60-something years talking about the issues of good governance, be it democracy, be it transparency, be it justice, be it equal opportunities, be it the principle of separation of powers. Every government that has been in power has talked about that, other than, of course, the military regime. But the biggest problem has always been implementation. So as an Alliance for National Transformation, every program that we are designing, in its application, we normally draw from that history, knowing that if we don't change our mindsets, if we don't attract people who don't just talk about these ideas and values, but have the capability to apply them, so that you have a significant number or a critical number of leaders at different levels who act out of conviction. We've not had that. That's why we concentrate a lot. Laws, yes, like we've been looking at some of the amendments that need to be made. But even with the current laws, it is possible when you have actors who are operating from a mindset of good governance, where you know that people know that when you're in a public office, you are accountable for your actions. And you also have a commitment to whatever you are doing. I mean, we wouldn't have the problem that we do have now. So at the end of the day, that's one of the most critical issues that we keep looking at. Yes, Peter.
Yeah. Thank you, General. And you touched two important things we'll come to later in terms of what ANT is doing about building capability and conviction. But I want to take you a little bit back to something that people have attributed to you. You transitioned as a military commander to an opposition leader, which gives you a unique perspective. So my question is, what are some of the lessons from your military service that you think bring unique and new approaches to advocating for better governance that you're seeking, General?
Come again?
I was saying your transition from a military commander to an opposition leader gives you a bit of a unique perspective. We would want to qualify you as somebody who has uniquely transitioned through different uh, stages of leadership. So my question is, what key lessons from your military service inform your approach in advocating for this better governance? And that speaks to the two things that you've talked about, capability and maybe conviction. What are some of the lessons from your military service in terms of personal insight?
Unfortunately, it's very difficult to use the methods and tools used in the military to convert people. It's very difficult to apply that on the political arena, because in the political arena you have to attract people who want fast engage in the political processes. They have to join voluntarily, and then the only thing you can do is train and groom. But the methods of training is that you have to keep on passing on knowledge and concepts in regard to whatever tasks they are going to meet. And then it is up to the person to absorb the lessons, and then when they are operating, to be able to apply those values and principles and the other tools that they'll be equipped with. The problem in that regard is that people who are in politics, if someone, for example, runs for a member of parliament and is elected and goes to parliament, then the party now has to have the organizational culture and also the skills of building discipline, so that the members of parliament who are in that party know what the party values are, what the principles that govern that party to which they belong, and also the agenda that they want to push. If there is discipline in the party, yes, they can, have cohesion in the organization, and then they can be able to push the agenda that they do have.